In the icy embrace of early 20th century Ontario, a boy from the modest town of Perth discovered his destiny on frozen rivers, where harsh winters and economic struggles forged unbreakable dreams. Born in 1914, amid World War I's aftermath and the Great Depression's shadow, Carl Lefty Liscombe turned to hockey as his escape, a rugged Canadian passion that transformed makeshift rinks into arenas of ambition. Skating alongside local talents, he sharpened a legendary left-handed shot that would define him, blending raw power with deceptive finesse in a sport that promised hope amid hardship. From humble junior leagues to professional circuits, Lefty's journey was a relentless climb, battling through minor league grinds before breaking into the NHL with the Detroit Red Wings. Wartime chaos tested his mettle, yet he rose to moments of brilliance that hinted at greatness. But what secrets lie behind his forgotten triumphs? A Stanley Cup hero who vanished from headlines, outlasting comrades only to fade quietly? Why did this record-breaking legend slip into obscurity? Uncover the hidden story of grit, quiet resilience, and a life etched in ice. Perfect for hockey history, buffs craving untold tales. Hit play now and rediscover the enigma of Carl Lefty Liscombe before time erases him forever. Born on May 17, 1914, in the small town of Perth, Ontario, Carl Liscombe entered a world deeply intertwined with the rhythms of rural Canadian life, where the harsh winters and economic challenges of the early 20th century shaped not just daily existence, but also the passions that would define his future. Perth, nestled in the Rideau Valley, was a modest community of a few thousand residents, primarily reliant on agriculture and small-scale industry. Families like the Liscombes worked the land through unforgiving seasons, facing the aftermath of the First World War, which had left scars on communities across Canada with lost lives and lingering instability. By the time Carl was a young boy in the 1920s, the Great Depression began to cast its shadow, making jobs scarce and forcing many to depend on subsistence farming or whatever odd labor was available. Yet, in this environment of hardship, hockey emerged as a vital cultural force, offering not just recreation, but a sense of community and escape. The Grand River, winding through Perth, froze solid each winter, transforming into a natural ice rink where local children, including Carl, would gather with makeshift ice skates, often hand-me-down blades or improvised setups, to play endless games that built endurance, skill, and camaraderie. From these frozen waterways, Carl honed the fundamentals that would propel him into professional ranks. Quick turns to evade opponents, precise shots honed through repetition, and the stamina to withstand the biting cold for hours. He often skated alongside other local talents, such as Hilda Ranscombe, a young girl who would later become a prominent figure in women's hockey, highlighting how the sport transcended gender in these informal settings and fostered a shared passion among Perth's youth. Carl's left-handed shot, powerful and accurate, set him apart early on, earning him the nickname Lefty that would stick throughout his career. This prowess was more than a personal trait. It reflected the broader cultural backdrop of 1930s Canada, where economic woes pushed many young men towards sports as a pathway to stability. Professional hockey contracts, though modest by today's standards, represented a viable means to support a family, and the NHL's expansion, incorporating American teams like the Detroit Red Wings, created opportunities that inspired small-town dreamers like Carl. His early life, steeped in this resilient ethos, prepared him for the grind of a professional career, where every shift on the ice carried the weight of those humble beginnings and the determination to rise above them. Carl's entry into organized hockey came at age 19 during the 1933-34 season, when he joined the Galt Terriers in the Ontario Hockey Association's B Division. This was far from the NHL's glamour, but it served as a crucial proving ground in an era when minor leagues were the backbone of talent development. Over 13 regular season games, he scored 6 goals and added 1 assist for 7 points, while racking up 20 penalty minutes, a clear indicator of his physical willingness to engage in the rough-and-tumble style that defined Depression-era hockey. Fights and hard checks were as integral to the game as passing, and Carl's feisty edge showed he could hold his own. The playoffs were brief, with 2 games yielding 1 goal and 8 more penalty minutes, But these modest stats revealed a raw forward talent capable of finding the net amid chaos. Analyzing this start, it's evident that Carl's offensive instincts were already developing, though unpolished, in a league where survival demanded adaptability and grit, qualities that would become hallmarks of his play. Carl Liscombe's progression in hockey truly began to accelerate in the 1934-35 season, when he transitioned to the Hamilton Tigers in the Ontario Hockey Association. This move represented a significant step up from his initial foray with the Galt Terriers, allowing him to showcase an offensive flair that had been simmering beneath the surface. Over the course of 19 regular season games, he erupted with 22 goals and 6 assists, amassing 28 points while logging another 20 penalty minutes, a testament to his blend of scoring prowess and physicality. Averaging more than a goal per game, this output not only boosted his confidence, but also illustrated his capacity to adapt to heightened competition, where consistency was prized by scouts scouring the minors for reliable talents. Although the playoffs were less fruitful, yielding just 1 goal across 6 games with minimal penalties, the season as a whole marked a turning point in his development. Hamilton's structured team environment emphasized disciplined play, which helped Carl refine his positioning as a left winger. He learned to harmonize aggressive offensive pushes with solid defensive responsibilities, a duality that would prove invaluable as he climbed the ranks. Delving deeper into this phase, it becomes clear how Carl's early career mirrored the sport's broader shift during the 1930s, from a raw, chaotic pastime dominated by individual brawls to a more tactical endeavor where teamwork and strategy began to take precedence. In embodying this evolution, Carl transformed from a promising local talent into a player with professional potential, his evolving skill set reflecting the game's maturation amid economic uncertainties that made every opportunity a high-stakes gamble. This momentum carried into 1935-36, when Carl made his professional debut with the Detroit Olympics in the International Hockey League, a circuit known for its faster tempo and more formidable adversaries compared to the OHA. Across 47 games, he contributed 12 goals and 8 assists for a total of 20 points, accompanied by 37 penalty minutes that underscored his ongoing adjustment to the physical demands of pro hockey. The playoffs extended his experience with 6 additional games, where he added 1 goal, 1 assist, and 4 penalty minutes. The transition to professionalism brought new challenges: extended travel across regions, the unrelenting toll on his body from harder checks and faster skates, and the mental pressure of performing for a paycheck in an era when contracts were far from lucrative. Yet, Carl's steadfast consistency as a left winger, balancing contributions on offense and defense, drew the attention of scouts who recognized his versatility as a key asset in a time when all-around players were essential for team stability. Analyzing this period reveals Carl's remarkable mental fortitude. The IHL served as a crucible that separated aspiring pros from those who faltered under the strain, and his steady output positioned him as a journeyman on the rise, honing endurance that would sustain him through nearly 2 decades in the sport. By the 1936-37 season, Carl had ascended further to the Pittsburgh Hornets in the International American Hockey League, which functioned as a direct precursor to the modern AHL and offered a glimpse into near NHL-level competition. In 48 games, he recorded 8 goals and 13 assists for 21 points, with 23 penalty minutes, while the playoffs consisted of 5 games yielding 1 assist and 2 penalty minutes. The league's demanding schedule, frequently played before modest crowds in arenas far from the spotlight, rigorously tested his resolve and commitment. This phase solidified Carl's identity as a supportive forward, capable of reliable shifts without dominating the score sheet, and it built the endurance necessary for sustained success. In retrospect, this endurance-building era was crucial, as it exemplified the tenacity required in the pre-expansion NHL, where minor league grit often determined who earned a shot at the majors. Carl's performance here laid the groundwork for his breakthrough, proving that persistence in the shadows of lesser leagues could forge a path to greater arenas. Having been signed by the Detroit Red Wings in September 1935, Carl finally made his NHL debut in the 1937-38 season, appearing in 41 or 42 games. Slight discrepancies exist in historical records, where he tallied 14 goals and 10 assists for 24 points, alongside 30 penalty minutes. He also shuttled back to the Hornets for 5 games, adding 3 goals and 1 assist. The leap to the NHL introduced him to the dazzling lights and roaring crowds of venues like Olympia Stadium, a world apart from the miners' intimacy. A standout moment came on March 13, 1938, when he notched a hat trick in a mere 1 minute and 52 seconds against Chicago, setting what was then the league's fastest such feat and electrifying spectators with his blend of speed and precision. This exploit, rarely highlighted in broader narratives of his career, demonstrated his knack for exploiting defensive vulnerabilities, a skill meticulously sharpened in lower leagues. Examining this debut year, it's evident that Carl was navigating the steep learning curve of elite competition, where every mistake was amplified, yet his solid output signaled a player ready to contribute meaningfully to a rebuilding Red Wings squad. The late 1930s continued as years of acclamation and refinement. In 1938-39, he suited up for 48 games with Detroit, managing 8 goals and 18 assists for 26 points, while reducing his penalty minutes to 13, a clear sign of maturing discipline on the ice. Playoffs that year were subdued, with 3 games producing no points and just 2 penalty minutes. The 1939-40 season brought more instability as he shuttled between leagues. 25 NHL appearances yielded 2 goals, 7 assists, and 9 points with 4 penalty minutes, while 24 games with the Indianapolis Capitals in the IAHL produced 8 goals, 11 assists, and 19 points alongside 9 penalty minutes. The IAHL playoffs added 5 games, 2 goals, and 1 assist. This constant movement challenged his resilience, but it also honed critical abilities like superior puck handling and astute defensive positioning. In a deeper analysis, these years reflect the precarious nature of NHL rosters during the era, where players like Carl had to prove their worth repeatedly amid economic constraints and team flux, forging a perseverance that would define his longevity. Greater stability began to take hold in 2380. Carl Liscombe's career during the 1940-41 season, a period that represented a turning point after years of shuttling between leagues and inconsistent roster spots. In his 33 NHL games that year, he demonstrated a refined and disciplined approach, scoring 10 goals and providing 10 assists for a total of 20 points, all while remarkably avoiding any penalty minutes, a feat that underscored his growing maturity and efficiency on the ice. This clean sheet in penalties was no small achievement in an era when physicality often led to infractions, suggesting Carl had mastered the art of aggressive play without crossing into recklessness, allowing him to stay on the ice longer and contribute more consistently to Detroit's strategies. The playoffs further illuminated his emerging prowess, where over 9 games he tallied 4 goals, 3 assists, and 7 points, though he did accumulate 12 penalty minutes in the heat of postseason battles. To supplement his NHL duties, he also appeared in 19 games with the Indianapolis Capitals, adding 4 goals and 5 assists, which helped maintain his sharpness during the split assignments. At this juncture, Carl was clearly establishing himself as a reliable clutch performer, someone whose contributions in critical moments, such as timely scoring or playmaking under pressure, highlighted his increasing importance to the Red Wings lineup. This evolution from a frequently reassigned prospect to a steady, dependable winger capable of influencing outcomes in high-pressure scenarios reflected not only personal growth, but also the team's growing trust in his abilities, setting the stage for him to become a core piece in Detroit's aspirations for contention amid the NHL's competitive landscape of the early 1940s. Building directly on the progress of the previous year, the 1941-42 campaign solidified Carl's role as an integral part of the Red Wings, with his performance showing a clear upward trajectory in both regular season reliability and postseason impact. Across 47 regular season games, he recorded 13 goals and 17 assists for 30 points, along with 14 penalty minutes, indicating a balanced offensive output that combined scoring threat with playmaking vision while keeping his physical engagements measured to avoid unnecessary bench time. This consistency allowed him to integrate seamlessly into Detroit's forward lines, where his left wing positioning enabled effective puck distribution and opportunistic finishing. The playoffs, however, were where he truly elevated his game. In 12 appearances, he netted 6 goals and added 6 or 7 assists, depending on minor discrepancies in historical records. Amassing 12 or 13 points with just 2 penalty minutes, that's a disciplined effort that minimized disruptions to his team's momentum. By co-leading the NHL in playoff scoring that year, Carl's performance revealed a profound ascent from a mere supporting player to a pivotal contributor. His unflappable composure under intense scrutiny driving Detroit's extended run and foreshadowing the prime of his career. A deeper analysis of this season uncovers how Carl's ability to thrive in elimination games stemmed from his minor league hardening, where he learned to channel pressure into productivity, ultimately helping the Red Wings navigate a league still adjusting to the disruptions of World War II, including roster uncertainties that demanded versatility from players like him. The pinnacle of Carl's NHL tenure arguably arrived in the 1942-43 season, a campaign that encapsulated his illustrious rise and cemented his legacy as a championship-caliber performer amid one of hockey's most challenging historical contexts. In 50 regular season games, he compiled 19 goals and 23 assists for 42 points, complemented by 19 penalty minutes, showcasing a well-rounded game that balanced goal-scoring instincts with creative passing, all while maintaining the physical edge required in a league known for its bruising style. This output positioned him as a key offensive engine for Detroit, where his contributions helped stabilize a team grappling with wartime absences. The playoffs were nothing short of masterful. Across 10 games, he scored 6 goals, dished out 8 assists, and totaled 14 points, tying a league record at the time with only 2 penalty minutes, demonstrating exceptional discipline in the crucible of Stanley Cup contention. Detroit's decisive sweep of the Boston Bruins in the finals featured Carl's unforgettable clinching goal in Game 4, a precise wrist shot that sealed a 2-0 shutout and delivered the Stanley Cup to the Red Wings. At 29 years old, during an era marked by World War II's roster depletions as players enlisted for service, Carl's leadership was instrumental in bridging those gaps, stepping up as a veteran presence to guide younger or replacement talent through high-stakes play. The euphoric moment of lifting the cup, surrounded by the roaring fervor of Olympia Stadium, represented the zenith of his achievements, yet a closer examination reveals the deeper emotional layers woven into wartime hockey. It was a fusion of individual triumph and collective duty, where athletes like Carl not only pursued personal glory, but also served as symbols of resilience, offering morale-lifting distractions to a nation enduring global conflict and domestic hardships, their on-ice victories resonating as metaphors for broader perseverance and unity in turbulent times. In the wake of that championship glory, the 1943-44 season emerged as Carl's statistical summit, a year where his production reached unprecedented heights and further affirmed his status among the NHL's elite forwards, even as the shadows of war continued to influence the league's dynamics. Over 50 games, he achieved a career-high 36 goals alongside 37 assists, culminating in 73 points that ranked him 4th overall in the league, with 17 penalty minutes reflecting his continued emphasis on smart, controlled aggression. This explosive output highlighted his peak physical and tactical form, where his left-handed shot became a weapon of precision, and his vision on the ice allowed him to orchestrate plays that dismantled opposing defenses. He also shared team records for the most goals and points in a single playoff game, although the postseason itself was abbreviated. Spanning just 5 games, he managed 1 goal and 2 penalty minutes in a campaign cut short for Detroit. A particularly enduring highlight from earlier in his prime, specifically November 5, 1942, involved a staggering 7-point performance, 3 goals and 4 assists, in a dominant 12-5 victory over the New York Rangers, which set an NHL record at the time and exemplified his extraordinary capacity for offensive dominance, strategically identifying and exploiting weaknesses in the opponent's structure with ruthless efficiency. Delving into this season's nuances, it becomes apparent how Carl's success was amplified by the wartime context, where depleted rosters created openings for veterans like him to shine. Yet his achievements transcended mere opportunity, rooted instead in years of refined skill and mental acuity that allowed him to capitalize on every shift, contributing to Detroit's identity as a powerhouse while navigating the emotional weight of a sport, serving as a temporary escape from global unrest. The 1944-45 season represented a continuation of the strong momentum Carl Liscombe had built in previous years, as he remained a key contributor to the Detroit Red Wings amid the ongoing challenges of World War II, which continued to affect team rosters and league play. In 42 regular season games, he demonstrated sustained offensive capability by scoring 23 goals and adding 9 assists for a total of 32 points, while accumulating 18 penalty minutes, a figure that reflected his balanced approach to physical engagement without excessive risk, allowing him to maintain availability for his team. This output highlighted his role as a reliable left winger who could generate scoring opportunities even as the league navigated player shortages and heightened competition. The playoffs extended his impact over 14 games, where he netted 4 goals, provided 2 assists, and amassed 6 points without incurring any penalty minutes, showcasing a disciplined performance that prioritized clean, effective play in high-stakes elimination rounds. His final full NHL season came in 1945-46, encompassing 44 games with 12 goals, 9 assists, and 21 points, alongside just 2 penalty minutes, indicating a slight dip in production, possibly influenced by the cumulative physical toll of years in the league or shifting team dynamics. Playoffs that year were brief, spanning 4 games with 1 goal and no penalties, marking a quieter exit from the NHL stage. When viewed cumulatively, Carl's entire NHL career painted a picture of consistent excellence, spanning 380 to 383 games, accounting for minor record variations. He tallied 137 goals, 140 assists, and 277 points with 117 penalty minutes in the regular season, while his playoff resume included 57 games, 22 goals, 19 to 20 assists, and 41 to 42 points. A contextual analysis of these figures positions Carl as one of the more efficient wingers of his era, particularly excelling in playoff scenarios where his poise and productivity stood out. Even as wartime factors, such as depleted rosters due to military enlistments, altered league parity and created unique opportunities for veterans like him to shine through adaptability and leadership. As Carl transitioned to the American Hockey League in the 1946-47 season, he divided his time between the St. Louis Flyers and the Providence Reds, a move that came at age 32 and reflected a common path for NHL veterans seeking continued competitive play amid roster changes in the majors. With the Flyers, he appeared in 37 games, contributing 16 goals and 10 assists, while his 26 games with the Reds yielded 19 goals and 22 assists. Overall, this split resulted in 63 games, 35 goals, 32 assists, 67 points, and 16 penalty minutes. This adaptation infused a sense of veteran poise into these emerging squads, where his experience from the NHL provided stability and guidance to younger players navigating the minor league grind. His resilience following the departure from the NHL was evident in the seamless nature of this role transition, as he quickly adjusted to the AHL's pace and expectations, turning what could have been a demotion into an opportunity to extend his influence and maintain high-level performance in a league that served as a crucial developmental hub for professional hockey. Dominance became the defining characteristic of Carl's 1947-48 season with the Providence Reds, where he fully embraced his leadership role and produced at an elite level that reaffirmed his status as a top-tier talent. Across 68 games, he exploded for 50 goals and 68 assists, totaling 118 points with only 10 penalty minutes, a remarkable display of offensive firepower combined with disciplined play that minimized disruptions. This outstanding performance earned him the Les Cunningham Award as the AHL's most valuable player and the John B. Sullenberger Trophy for the league's top scorer, solidifying him as a pillar of the Reds lineup and a dominant force in the circuit. The playoffs added 5 games to his ledger, where he contributed 1 goal and 1 assist, further extending his impact in postseason scenarios. Upon reflection, this revival accentuated Carl's timeless talent, as he not only revitalized his own career, but also positioned himself as a mentor figure in a feeder league essential for replenishing NHL rosters, offering invaluable on-ice wisdom and off-ice guidance to aspiring professionals, while proving that age and a shift in leagues did not diminish his competitive edge or passion for the game. Excellence showed no signs of waning in the 1948-49 season, as Carl continued to assert his command over the AHL with the Providence Reds, building on the previous year's success to achieve historic milestones. In 68 games, he recorded 55 goals and 47 assists for 102 points, with an astonishingly low 2 penalty minutes, illustrating a near-perfect blend of prolific scoring, creative playmaking, and impeccable discipline that made him virtually untouchable in terms of on-ice conduct. This campaign secured him another Les Cunningham Award, making him the inaugural back-to-back recipient in AHL history, and culminated in a Calder Cup championship with Providence, underscoring his ability to elevate an entire team to title contention. Playoffs that year spanned 14 games, during which he added 3 goals, 2 assists, and 2 penalty minutes, contributing steadily to the Reds' triumphant run. As the first professional player to surpass 100 points in consecutive seasons, 118 the prior year and 102 now, Carl's dominance in the AHL transformed what might have been perceived as a career downgrade into a profound showcase of adaptability, resilience, and enduring prowess, proving that his skills transcended leagues and that he could reinvent himself as a scoring machine while leading by example in a competitive environment focused on development and high performance. The 1949-50 season marked a noticeable tapering in Carl's output, signaling the beginning of his career's wind-down phase as he approached his mid-30s and the physical demands of professional hockey accumulated. Across 57 games, he managed 13 goals and 29 assists for 42 points, with 16 penalty minutes, a respectable but reduced production compared to his peak AHL years, possibly influenced by age-related factors or shifting team roles. Playoffs were limited to 3 games without any points, reflecting a quieter postseason presence. As his career began winding down further, in 1950-51, he appeared in 4 OHA senior games with the Hamilton Tigers without registering points, while his 45 games in the IHL with the Detroit Auto Club yielded a more productive 29 goals, 23 assists, and 52 points, though playoffs remained minimal and without significant impact. This period illustrated Carl's ongoing commitment to the sport, even in lower-tier leagues, where he continued to apply his veteran savvy to contribute offensively despite the transition away from full-time high-level competition. In the 1951-52 season, Carl's engagements in the IHL with the Detroit Hetche produced solid results across 45 games, where he scored 35 goals, added 31 assists, and totaled 66 points with 14 penalty minutes, demonstrating that his scoring touch and playmaking ability remained sharp even as retirement loomed. The final chapters of his playing days unfolded in the OHA Senior League. During 1952-53 with the Chatham Maroons, he played 14 games, contributing 4 goals, 7 assists, and 11 points. The 1953-54 season saw him splitting time between Chatham, 12 games without points, and Hamilton, 52 games with 12 goals, 19 assists, and 31 points. Retiring at the age of 40 in 1954, Carl's extensive journey was distinguished by rare championships won across the IHL, NHL, and AHL, a trifecta that few players achieved, underscoring his remarkable longevity, versatility, and profound multifaceted impact on the game through consistent performance, leadership, and adaptation across various levels of professional hockey. Beyond the raw statistics that defined his on-ice achievements, Carl Liscombe was fundamentally a man characterized by quiet intensity, a quality that permeated his approach to the game and earned him deep respect among peers. His signature left-handed shot was widely revered for its whip-like speed and deceptive angle, a tool that allowed him to outmaneuver goaltenders and create scoring chances in ways that often caught opponents off guard, blending raw power with subtle finesse developed over years of practice. Teammates frequently highlighted his unflappable nature, recalling how he would calmly adjust line strategies or offer subtle mentoring to rookies amid the chaos of intense matches, providing stability without ever demanding the spotlight. This demeanor earned him the affectionate label of the glue guy, the essential player who held teams together through reliability and understated leadership, contributing to cohesion without seeking personal acclaim or fanfare. Personal anecdotes from those who knew him reveal a profound humility at his core. He would often shrug off remarkable records and feats with simple deflections like, "just doing my job for the team," a response that spoke volumes about his character, deeply rooted in the small-town values of Perth, Ontario, where hard work, community, and modesty were prized over individual glory, shaping a man who viewed success as a collective endeavor rather than a personal pedestal. Emotionally, his life held profound layers. Outliving all 1943 Stanley Cup teammates as the last survivor brought bittersweet solitude, carrying memories alone as friends faded. Reunions, like one in 1963, stirred joy in reminiscence and sorrow in absences. His private life remained guarded, contrasting modern athletes' exposure, likely influenced by Perth's community bonds where discretion was norm. Post-retirement, he settled in Clawson, Michigan, near Detroit, before relocating to Kihei on Maui, Hawaii, a shift from icy rinks to tropical warmth, perhaps seeking tranquility from hockey's physical toll, bruises, strains, and cumulative wear. In Hawaii, he embraced serenity away from the sport's clamor, battling leukemia with stoic resolve that mirrored his playing days. Dying on February 24, 2004, at 89 in Wailuku, from disease complications, he was cremated, ashes scattered in the Pacific, a poetic, fluid farewell for a life gliding like a skater on ice. This end evokes poignant beauty, a champion in isolation, struggles private, joys simple. The physical demands of hockey, wartime uncertainties, he played through exemptions but aware of sacrifices, deepened his appreciation for quiet fulfillment. Analyzing later years, they underscore human fragility, the ache of outliving an era, health's vulnerability, and satisfaction in a passionately modest life.